The movie starts with a group of U.S. soldiers arriving at the Arizona-Mexico border. They unload crates filled with advanced weapons, but their purpose is unclear. Suddenly, they are ambushed by Machete and his girlfriend, Agent Sartana. They quickly realize that the soldiers were planning to sell the weapons to the Mexican cartel. Just as they suspect, the cartel shows up and kills all the soldiers. Machete and Sartana are captured and nearly executed when a group of masked soldiers appears and starts shooting at everyone. In the chaos, Sartana asks Machete to help her fight the masked soldiers. Machete reluctantly agrees, and they fight against the cartel members. Sartana tries to grab a weapon from a military truck, but instead finds a huge missile. Just then, a masked man named Rey Mysterio appears and shoots Sartana in the head, killing her instantly. Heartbroken, Machete finds Sartana's lifeless body. Before he can react, another masked man attacks him, but the Arizona sheriff arrives and scares the attacker away. However, instead of helping, the sheriff arrests Machete and accuses him of killing Sartana. Machete denies it, saying that Sartana was his girlfriend, but the sheriff orders his deputy, Clubborn, to kick the bench Machete is standing on to hang him. Machete is left hanging, but somehow survives. Meanwhile, a man named Dokes receives a call from the President of the United States, asking for his help to free Machete and bring him to the White House. Once Machete is rescued, he meets President Rathcock, who tells him about a dangerous Mexican cartel leader, Marcos Mendez. Mendez is threatening to launch missiles at Washington, D.C., unless Mexico stops corruption in the country. Rathcock orders Machete to find and eliminate Mendez. At first, Machete refuses, but when Rathcock promises him U.S. citizenship and asks him to do it for his late girlfriend, Sartana, Machete agrees. Rathcock then sends him to San Antonio, Texas, to meet a contact who will guide him on his mission. In San Antonio, Machete meets his contact, Blanca Vasquez, also known as Miss San Antonio. Vasquez tells Machete about Mendez's plans and advises him to go to Acapulco, Mexico, to find Mendez's daughter, Cereza. She says that Cereza can help locate her father. Vasquez arranges a flight from Machete to Acapulco. Once there, he parachutes down, landing awkwardly in a tree. After freeing himself, Machete makes his way to a brothel owned by Madame Desdemona, who happens to be Cereza's mother. He shows Madame a photo of her daughter, asking her to arrange a meeting. Instead of helping, Madame Desdemona pulls out a gun and shoots him. Her men begin to chase him, but Machete narrowly escapes and eventually finds Cereza in one of the rooms. Attracted to Machete, Cereza agrees to go with him. After fleeing the brothel, Machete and Cereza head to the docks, waiting for their next part of the journey to meet Mendez. During this time, Machete reveals that Mendez has two sides, one good and one very evil. They are picked up by a man named Zerer and two revolutionaries, who are supposed to take them to Mendez's headquarters. However, Zerer receives an order from Mendez to kill Cereza. In a shocking turn of events, Zerer shoots her in the stomach and throws her out of the helicopter, killing her. When they reach the base, Machete confronts Mendez, who is in his more sinister personality and has control over a massive missile. The problem is that the missile's trigger is tied to Mendez's heartbeat. If Mendez dies, the missile will launch towards the United States. Mendez explains that only two people know how to disarm the trigger. Just as Machete learns this, Zerer kills one of them, leaving Machete with the challenge of finding the last person who can stop the missile. In an effort to secure Mendez, Machete takes him hostage. However, the revolutionaries who want to see the U.S. destroyed try to kill Mendez. As Machete tries to escape with Mendez, Mendez accidentally activates the missile's launch, giving them only 24 hours before it strikes. In the chaos, Zerer confronts Machete, and they engage in a fierce battle. Machete manages to kill Zerer and escapes with Mendez in a helicopter, racing against time to find a way to stop the missile. While flying, Machete gets a call from Vasquez and the president. They ask him to take Mendez across the border, but Machete refuses. He explains that the missile's trigger is tied to Mendez's heart, so moving him without a plan could be dangerous. Machete insists on finding someone who can disable the trigger. He learns that the person they need works for a tech company called Voz Tech. As the helicopter flies over the ocean, two revolutionaries in speedboats try to shoot them down. Machete jumps out of the helicopter with Mendez and lands on one of the speedboats. He takes down the attackers and takes control of the boat, steering it towards the shore. However, more revolutionaries are waiting for them at the dock. As the boat speeds toward the dock, Machete leaps off just before the boat crashes, using the spinning turbine to defeat the attackers. After reaching the mainland, Mendez's good side starts to take over. He seems confused and doesn't remember that the missile's trigger is connected to his heart. Mendez becomes distressed when Machete reveals that he ordered Zerer to kill Cereza for betraying them. At a Mexican radio station, a revolutionary forces the host to broadcast a message promising a $20 million reward to anyone who kills Machete and Mendez. The news spreads quickly, reaching not only Machete's allies but also Luz, the head of an underground network. In another part of town, an unknown man walks into a bar. He introduces himself as El Chameleon, a notorious assassin whose real face has never been seen. After revealing his identity, he kills the bartender and changes his appearance using a disguise. Two witnesses see El Chameleon's true face, so he kills them as well. When he hears about the reward for killing Machete, he decides to make Machete his next target. At the same time, Machete and Mendez stop at a Mexican restaurant to take a break, but things quickly turn dangerous. People in the restaurant recognize them and plan to attack. A policeman named Chepo pulls out his gun and points it at Mendez, which causes Mendez's aggressive side to surface. Mendez disarms and defeats Chepo. Soon after, more police arrive to arrest them. Machete fights off the attackers and escapes with Mendez. Machete cuts the gas line in the restaurant, causing an explosion that destroys the entire place. El Chameleon arrives at a garage, where he learns that Machete was recently seen at a place called Villa Guerrera. Wanting to head there, he asks a man in the garage for directions. When the man stumbles and gives an unclear answer, El Chameleon kills him on the spot. Realizing that his face was caught on a security camera, El Chameleon removes his disguise and changes his appearance to look like Lady Gaga. Meanwhile, Machete takes Mendez to a clinic because Mendez was injured during the shootout at the restaurant. While they're at the clinic, some of Desdemona's gang members, all women, show up. Thinking quickly, Machete causes a bag of blood to explode in a microwave, distracting the women just long enough for him to make his next move. During the chaos, Desdemona reveals a hidden weapon in her bra, but Machete gets the upper hand. He attacks her and escapes with Mendez before things get worse. As they drive away, Mendez begins to open up to Machete. He shares the truth about his past, explaining that he was never part of the cartel. Instead, he was Mexico's first secret agent, dedicated to fighting corruption. Unfortunately, his mission took a dark turn when his superior betrayed him. As revenge, his enemies murdered Mendez's wife and daughter right in front of him. This tragedy pushed Mendez to the edge, driving him mad with a thirst for vengeance. He killed those responsible and then got involved in a shady deal, buying missiles for what seemed like his own revenge plan. Later, Machete and Mendez go to a used car dealership to find a reliable vehicle. The shopkeeper turns out to be deceitful and plans to kill them for a reward. Just as things get tense, a group of assassins arrives. Machete manages to take down the attackers, including one in a wheelchair, in a clever manner. They escape in an armored car, but more danger lies ahead. El Chameleon, Desdemona, and her gang chase them, trying to kill them. During the pursuit, Machete throws a bomb knife at Desdemona's vehicle, causing it to explode. In the confusion, El Chameleon causes Desdemona's car to flip over. Despite her attempts to shoot at them, Machete and Mendez escape again. They finally reach the U.S. border, using a secret passageway hidden beneath the border wall to cross to safety. When Machete and Mendez arrive in Arizona, they're confronted by Dokes and Kleborn, who are ready to kill Machete. Acting quickly, Mendez throws his knife, injuring Dokes' hand, and kills Kleborn. But their relief is short-lived, as the masked men from earlier in the movie, led by Zerer, appear once again. Mendez bravely approaches Zerer, but in a heartbreaking moment, Zerer beheads Mendez. At the same time, Machete is shot by the masked men and collapses. The scene then shifts, and Machete awakens in a strange pond inside Voz Tech Industries, the company responsible for the missile Mendez acquired. He is greeted by Luther Voz, the owner of Voz Tech and the mastermind behind the missile deal. Voz shows Machete a jar containing Mendez's still-beating heart, explaining that the missile countdown is still active and connected to Mendez's heart. Voz also tells Machete that he is lying in a special healing pool, which is helping him recover. Voz takes Machete on a tour of his company, traveling in a futuristic car. Voz reveals his vision of the future, a world that is destined for destruction. To survive, Voz has built a rocket that will take him and others into space, leaving Earth behind. In addition to the rocket, Voz has developed a powerful super army through advanced technology. His army includes multiple clone versions of Zerer, all enhanced to be stronger and more dangerous. Voz forces Machete to face the Zerer clones in battle. However, Machete finds a weapon and skillfully defeats all the clones. Impressed by Machete's skills, Voz offers him a spot by his side. But Machete soon learns the truth behind Voz's plan. Voz intends to place people like Mendez in countries around the world, each controlling missiles aimed at other nations. His goal is to cause global destruction while escaping to space. Seeing the insanity in Voz's plan, Machete refuses the offer and escapes, grabbing one of Voz's powerful weapons. He jumps into the futuristic car they were riding earlier, but Voz's men chase him. Using a special weapon he found, Machete wipes out the pursuing man. As Machete continues to flee, with more of Voz's men following closely behind, he spots a helicopter flown by Luz. Thinking fast, Machete hatches a plan. He uses a hook to swing up to the helicopter's propeller, taking out several of Voz's men in one swift move. With his enemies down, Machete climbs aboard the helicopter. Luz flies Machete to her network's headquarters, where she introduces him to Osiris Amanpour, the man who killed Machete's brother in a previous film. Amanpour, filled with regret, apologizes for what he did and asks for a chance to make things right. After some thought, Machete agrees. While at the headquarters, Machete receives a call from Vasquez, who asks him to meet her later that night. That evening, Machete arrives at the meeting point, unaware that Luz, Amanpour, and a man named Davis are watching from a distance. Vasquez has set up the meeting, but her true goal is to capture Machete. It is revealed that she has been secretly working for Voz all along, and she wants to bring Machete in before Voz can. However, Machete isn't an easy target. He fights back, leading to a chaotic shootout between Vasquez's team and Luz's group. During the gunfire, Davis is killed. In the confusion, Vasquez tries to escape, but Machete chases after him. Just as Machete is about to catch him, Vasquez speeds away in his car. Machete jumps into a nearby car to follow, but falls and loses his chance to catch Vasquez. The next morning, Machete wakes up alone in the desert. A truck driver pulls up and offers him a ride, seeming friendly at first. However, once Machete is inside the truck, the driver turns on him, revealing himself to be El Chameleon. Chameleon explains how he has been disguising himself to deceive and kill his targets. While digging what appears to be his own grave, Machete stumbles upon a hidden tunnel. This tunnel is used by Mexicans to secretly cross the border. Seeing an opportunity, Machete decides to enter the tunnel, with Chameleon following him. As they go inside, Chameleon comes face to face with a group of rednecks guarding the tunnel. In a twist of fate, the rednecks kill Chameleon, ending his deception. Machete escapes through the tunnel and is brought back to safety by his allies. With only 30 minutes left before the missile launch, Machete, Luz, and her network quickly devise a plan to infiltrate the space shuttle launch party hosted by Voz Tech Industries. They plan to go undercover and stop the launch before it's too late. At the party, Voz gives a speech about his space project, unaware that Machete is about to crash the event. Machete interrupts the speech and exposes Voz's plan to destroy the world and escape into space. Chaos breaks out as Luz's network and Voz's troops engage in a shootout. Amid the chaos, Machete chases Voz. During the battle, Vasquez shoots Luz in the left eye, wounding her. Meanwhile, Machete and Amanpour find Mendez's heart, still beating and connected to the missile trigger. Amanpour tries to disarm the heart device, but it's too complicated. Just as they're about to try something, Voz arrives and shoots the heart, triggering the missile to launch in 5 minutes. With time running out, Voz turns his weapon on Machete. But before the blast can hit, Amanpour steps in, sacrificing himself by taking the hit, saving Machete. Machete comes across Rey Mysterio's mask and discovers a shocking truth. It was Voz who killed Sartana. Filled with rage, Machete engages in a duel with Voz. During the fight, Machete spits fire into Voz's face, causing his skin to melt. Screaming in pain, Voz grabs a silver mask to cover his disfigured face. Meanwhile, Luz, despite being blinded, is determined to fight on. She finds Vasquez and kills her. However, before she can escape, Voz activates a gas that freezes Luz in place. Voz then gathers the remaining guests and captive members of the network, planning to take them with him into space. In a bold move, Machete grabs hold of the missile and rides it into the sky. Though unfamiliar with the technology, Machete manages to locate the missile's core. He cuts the blue wires inside, deactivating the missile just in time and sending it crashing harmlessly into the river. Shortly after, President Rathcock and his men arrive, finding Machete and thanking him for stopping the missile. The president has another mission for Machete: to go to space and capture Voz before he can carry out any more deadly plans. With no time to waste, Machete prepares for his next mission. He disguises himself as an astronaut and boards a rocket, ready to chase Voz into space. The movie ends with Machete launching into the stars, setting off on a daring mission to confront Voz once and for all. And that's how the movie ends. So the moral of the story is, if you ever get stuck in a wild, action-packed mess with missiles, cartels, and space rockets, just remember, sometimes you gotta ride a missile to save the world. Oh, and always double-check if your girlfriend's not secretly working for the bad guy.